Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms Chats, where I've been doing live videos to help parents understand what they can do to make sure their kids get a great education in spite of the challenges of the pandemic. And lately, we've been talking to school leaders about what's unique about their school models because we're in the height of open enrollment season for families applying to schools of choice for the coming school year. And I'm very excited today that we get to talk to Rheatha Miller, who's the director at the Foundation School of Autism, which is a school that serves young children, and it provides an environment where with early intervention so that children on the autism spectrum can reach their full potential. And I myself have a child on the autism spectrum. So I remember I visited the campus a few years ago, and it's been a goal of mine to cover the school more on the blog. So I'm really glad that is coming to fruition. Oh, so if you look at the description of the video, there is a link to the enrollment guide blog post. And I encourage you to click on that for more information, because Rheatha gave me lots of great information. But I'm really glad to talk to you today on the video, and we can talk all about Foundation School of Autism.
I love to talk about it. so much for having me.
Thank you. So the first thing is just to hear it from you, like, what is the mission of the Foundation School of Autism, and how did the school come to be?
Well, our mission is to provide an individualized, research-based education to children with autism that focuses on their social, communication, and academic skills. And the way we came to be was almost 11 years ago. Responsive Education teamed with a local nonprofit autism community network. Responsive Education heard about the need. They felt like it was something that was definitely, doable and would work really well. So it's more or less an early intervention model. And we started, like I said, in August of 2010, and we've been going strong ever since.
So, so if you could tell me about, so it's focused on early intervention. So what are the ages of students that are served at the Foundation School of Autism? And give us a sense of the size of the school, and like the student-teacher ratio and things like that.
Okay, well, we serve students from pre-K 3, so 3-year-olds, or it's an early childhood special education program, through first grade. There is a total of 6 classrooms, and each classroom has up to 7 students, so no more than 7 students, with a staff of 2, and that staff in that classroom is a certified special education teacher and an instructional aide. We also have some instructional aides that float in and out to meet the different needs of the students. There is, on staff, we have a board-certified behavior analyst, a speech-language pathologist, and an occupational therapist.
Wow. So I remember when you were helping me gather information for the blog post, you talked about what are some of the benefits of having those specialists, right? Like the BCBA, the SLP, the OT, make sure I get my letters right.
Yeah.
But that like having these specialists on staff, like they provide professional development to the teachers, and they're supervising the curriculum. So if you could talk more about, what's the benefit of having, these specialists as part of the team at Foundation School of Autism?
Absolutely. I think one of the main benefits is they are here. They are here every day. So they're not having to work multiple campuses, and so they can focus daily on every child's needs. So the behavior analyst, she also has a master's in special education, which is amazing. So she is a wealth of information for us. She oversees our curriculum. All 3 of them are able to provide our professional development. And since they're on site, if something comes up that a teacher needs help with, or can see that, oh my gosh, this progress has been made, where do we move next? Then that is able to be done. It's so easy. They work in tandem so well, all of them together. And even with the with the aides. That's a really good thing, because a lot of times aides, they're given their job duty, and it's like, okay, this is what you do. But a lot of them are like, okay, well, I want to learn about this and I want to learn about that. And okay, I want to be a special ed teacher or a behavior analyst. So they're also given a lot of support, which is valuable for our kiddos.
Yeah. Everyone gets to grow, and everyone gets to work together to help the children.
Yeah, it really is a full team. It's not like just the teachers all work together. So this teacher isn't doing the lesson plan for her class. They're working together to do, the pre-K teachers work together. The kinder first teachers work together. And they have such different levels of experience that they can bounce ideas off of each other to meet the needs of the students.
Yeah. So one thing that I've followed the school on social media for a long time, and actually one of my friends, she was active in the parent organization back when her kids were at Foundation School of Autism. So I know you guys have a really vibrant community, and I know it's a little harder this year because you're not having as many in-person events, but sort of in a more typical year, like what are some of the kind of community events that Foundation School of Autism has as kind of traditions?
Absolutely. So it's difficult to give them the full benefit of an off-site field trip. So we bring them in, and the PTO helps us with that. They help the scheduling. They pay for all of these great events. We do have a wonderful group of parents, and we have for all 11 school years. We really are a family. Like they say, it takes a community, and it really does. So some of those things we do, we have Magic Theater comes in. They are wonderful. They understand the needs of our kiddos. They keep things a little bit quieter so that, it doesn't bother their, any type of sensory related issues. So they put on a performance just for our students. Then we have Cowboy Mike and his rodeo clowns come in, and he brings his horse, and the children learn how to rope. He's got this little steer that's like it's not a real steer, but and they start. Those people are just amazing. Now they're patient, and we get the best photos from our kiddos, the biggest smiles, things that they may not be able to, do on a regular basis. Then we also have a wildlife expert. He lives up near Kerrville, and he comes in with us, and he is so good with the kiddos also. And his assistant is in special education with a local school district. So she will take off, because of course it's a school day. So she will take off from school just to come help him and work with our students. And it's just really a great experience. So those are some of the things that we do for our kids here.
Yeah. And I know it was canceled in 2020, but the Walk for Autism, it's usually in April, right? And we don't know yet if it'll happen this year, but y'all usually take a team.
We take a team, yes, and we've had a resource booth at times in the past. We haven't had one in a couple of years, but yes, and it's great to see old students and old friends, and it's a great time to just network. We love the walk.
Yeah. That's so one thing that because Foundation School of Autism is a program that's focused on early childhood, and so what that means is that there's going to be that transition right after first grade. So how do you talk to families about that, and how do you kind of work with their future schools to smooth the transition?
Well, and something that's important to know too. So because we're a charter school, we are a public school. So it is a special education setting. It is, and it's what you might call a self-contained special education setting. So we do not have general education students in here. So we don't have inclusion. We don't have any way to mainstream our students, which is one of the reasons it's that early intervention model through first grade, because we need to be able to transition them to another charter or a traditional ISD, whatever the parent is, feels best is for their family, and what would then be the best placement for them there. And obviously the next school they go to will make that determination. But some of the students need to be mainstream, some need to have inclusion for social times, some are better served in a small learning environment. So what we do is we encourage our parents of our first graders, because that's usually where they leave after first grade, unfortunately. And then we encourage them in the spring or in the winter of their first grade year to reach out to whatever school it is they have made the decision, or as soon as if they did apply to a charter, as soon as they know that they made it through the charter's lottery if they had one. And we encourage that they meet with the special ed director, who can then reach out to us. We welcome them to come into our ARD at the end of the year, so that they understand the behavior plan and the needs of the student. We also welcome them to come in and observe, because we feel that the more they can see who our kiddos are, it'll give them a better idea of their needs in their campus.
Yeah. Well, that's, I'm glad you brought up the fact that, yes, Foundation School of Autism is an open enrollment charter school. And we've talked about this before, all charter schools are public schools, and they do serve students with special needs, including my son, who's on the autism spectrum, and he goes to an open enrollment public charter school and receives special education services there. So that's a myth that, we try to dispel, but he's in a general education setting, and it has been since second grade. But what you're talking about is at the Foundation School of Autism, all the students qualify for special education. And so they're not in any kind of mixed setting where they would be, communicating or practicing social skills with more neurotypical students, right?
Correct. Yes, that is correct. Yes. And because it is a spectrum disorder, we have, students with many different types of needs.
Right. And I know when we were researching this, we talked about that there's sort of a conversation that you have with parents, right? So I guess and there's more about this in the blog post, right? But there's the application process. The application is very short, like charter school applications. It's basically, name, age, address, very simple. And then, right, you run the lottery, and then, the names come up, and you start contacting parents to make offers. And then you have a conversation with them to make sure that they understand what the school offers. Right?
Yes. And I love it when, and we may schedule a Zoom now, but they come with every question. And I get new questions that I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that one, which is great, because they are making one of the biggest decisions for their little one. And I want to make sure they feel everything. So we really kind of give them what this for a year and so that's inside, because some are I need because that may know the child well, to see what their thoughts are on a strictly a self-contained special education classroom for their child.
Right. So unfortunately, my audio, I lost a little bit of what you said, but I think what you were talking about, before it broke up, you were talking about how you're reaching out to the parents to say, we have a spot. And then as I know, special education parents are some of the best researchers on earth, right?
They are, yeah.
And they come at you with all these questions, and then so your role is answering your questions, and then also bringing people into the conversation, right? So if they have a therapy team or a developmental pediatrician, then there's folks like that who can, kind of weigh in and help decide if Foundation School of Autism is the right setting for them.
Absolutely. And it's great because they have this team or, around them that they trust. And so, yes, those parents will come in and they will have specific questions from maybe the ABA therapist. I've had them, because a lot of them don't get in till maybe kinder. And so they're transitioning from an early childhood special education classroom or a kindergarten. And I've got special ed teachers who write these, well, are you going to do this and are you going to do that? So we have to be completely transparent. Like I said, they're making a huge decision, and I want to let them know everything there is to know of what to expect here at the school.
Yeah. So I saw we got a comment. Colleen Dipple is a friend of mine. She lives in the Woodlands, and she's the founder at Families Empowered, which is a Houston-based nonprofit, but they serve Austin and San Antonio as well. And I know she's been communicating with a potential charter school in the Houston area that's designed to serve children on the autism spectrum. So
that's great.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Colleen came to the school and we met. So yes, she got a tour. So thank you.
Yeah, this is how we keep in touch with people during the pandemic, right? Is dropping in on each other's Zoom chats, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, so I always like to close out videos by giving parents like the call to action, like what are your next steps? But before we I don't want to rush into that. If there's more things you want to share about the Foundation School of Autism, things, advice for parents.
One of the things to know is even if you are on the fence, like Inga said, the application is very short. It takes just a few minutes. So get that application in, call the school. We do get people sending messages through Facebook. And as you can see, I love to talk sometimes, especially about my school. So if you'll call the school, then we can really help guide you through the process. Also know that it is a special education setting. So when we bring students in, they need to be qualified, have had a full and individual evaluation with their school and meet the eligibility because that's how we can put them in a special education classroom. And it's a really easy process when they get in and they have that. We have what's called a transfer ARD prior to the day they start. And what it does is we adopt everything that's in place. So you have already had this ARD at another school possibly. You agreed, you like that plan. Well, we're going to bring that plan in with the child so that we have a starting point, a jumping off point, so to say. And so then we really get to know them in their environment. And we'll come back and then within 30 days, we'll have another ARD. And we may decide that some of those goals are great. We're going to keep them. We may propose new goals. But it's I have some parents that I love and they'll tell me, oh gosh, I was so intimidated. I'm so afraid by these ARDs. And oh my gosh, you just made this so easy. Because we are your child's advocate. We are ready to get in here and do what's best for them and what their needs are educationally. So what's happening right now is our open application for enrollment for the 21-22 school year. That sounds crazy. Which starts in August. So that, as you can see right now on the banner, that application process closes Friday. So if you want to get into our lottery for next year, please fill out that application. You would go to, and I don't that right there. No, it's responsived.com. Something that might be a little confusing too that I want you guys to know is Responsive Ed has two districts. They have the TCPA, which is the Texas College Preparatory Academies district, and then they have the Premier High Schools. They put us in Premier High Schools, which I know is very confusing. I can't explain it, but that's where we are. So when you see that banner, that heading, go into Premier High Schools, and then you would find Foundation School of Autism. Do it by Friday. They go in the lottery. The lottery is the 25th. And don't despair if you don't make it through the lottery because we are a small school. There's a wait list, and I am even working on last year's wait list right now. I have some spots that opened up, so you never know. You just got to jump in and try. And if you make it through the lottery and you have a spot, you've got time to make that final decision. We really nurtured you through this process. And if it ends up not being the decision you want, that's okay. But we can't help you if you don't get the application yet. So that's what you need to do.
Right. I think that's really the key thing is, especially, with the open enrollment deadline coming up January 15th, that just go to the website. I've got it here on the screen, but there's a link to it in the blog post as well. It's a very short application, but it gets the process rolling, and that's the best chance of getting an offer, for the next school year.
Absolutely. And let me just point out too, if you're currently on my wait list for this year, it will not roll over. So please get in and do another application.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, you're such a great ambassador for the school. I mean, you have such a wealth of experience, because you've worked in, in therapy settings, and at Foundation School of Autism. So, there's a contact form on the page, but I just put the phone number on the video as well, so that people can call you. Yeah.
Our hours are 7:30 to 3:30.
Yeah. I think that's that's like a lot of what we talk about, like in the San Antonio Charter Moms discussion group on Facebook. I'll go ahead and pop that link up there. Is that parents come in and they ask questions, and we want them to feel safe, asking their questions, because you can do a bunch of research and read websites, and but unless you are able to talk to people, or like kind of talk through things, it's hard to wrap your head around it. And like you said, these are really important decisions. It's one of the most important decisions you'll make for your child. Getting them into a school that's really going to help them thrive and prepare them for a different education setting in the future. Yeah. Well, great. Well, I'm really thankful for your time, to help me research the blog post, and, today to, talk through these things from you, so people can get directly from the director. And, I'm just really glad. I'm really thankful that the school exists. And I hope that, I know it's a small school, and I don't want to like open the floodgates, but I hope that the families who need it can find it,
Absolutely. Good. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having me. Like I said, it's obvious I enjoy talking about this school, and so give us a call. We're here even with resources. So even if we have people call with 15 and 16-year-olds, where do I go? What do I do? So please don't hesitate. We're here to help, no matter what your needs are.
Yeah. Well, I'm really grateful for that. And well, it's been wonderful talking to you, and I look forward to someday being able to visit the school again, or hang out at the Walk for Autism. Or
that sounds wonderful. Hopefully we get to have visitors again soon. Yes. I know.
Yeah.
Through all this, but yes, I'm sure we will see each other again.
Okay, wonderful. Great talking to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, Rheatha.